Oh, good evening, everybody. This is a far cry from our 8 o'clock in the morning shows. We're doing it at 8 o'clock at night. So instead of our coffee, we shall enjoy a very nice German beer tonight. So tonight we're talking about 1950. Well, we got a supersized show tonight because we're going to talk about 1957's The Abominable Snowman, which was Peter Cushing's very first film for Hammer. A lot of people think it's Curse of Frankenstein because that one came out first, but this is the first one he filmed for Hammer. And it's a very, very interesting film. Where is my button here? Here we go. It's a very scary monster here. You probably, wait a sec, that's not who we're talking about, is it? That's not the monster. Yeah, it's a snow monster. It's scary. No, that's not it either, is it? Hold on a second. Ah, there we go. There's the Abominable Snowman. Pretty cool poster. Let's watch the trailer, shall we?
A small band of men on a perilous search for the man-beast of Tibet. The Abominable Snowman of the Himalayas. You've heard of him, haven't you? The world's most shocking monster. No one's ever lived who's seen him. Be on your guard. He's coming to this theater. The Abominable Snowman dares you. We dare you. Dare you to see the Abominable Snowman of the Himalayas.
What did it look like? Tell me, what did you see, Kusang? Tell me. I see what men must not see. They're after me. They know it was me that did it last night. They're after me. They're after all of us. They just killed McNeil. Who I saw that. It was an accident. It's me next. They know it was me. Steve, wait, there, I can hear you. Tell me, got to understand, that isn't Shelley, it isn't anybody. I can hear his voice. It's in your own mind. It's just happened to me, too.
Warning, only those with stout nerves and strong hearts should risk seeing the Abominable Snowman of the Himalayas.
Only those with stout hearts. Well, that guy was a little over the top, wasn't he? So this is filmed in black and white, which is unusual for Hammer, since most of their known films are in color. But this is a really beautifully shot film. The black and white contrasts. They shot it at Pinewood Studios rather than Bray, where they shot a lot of their stuff. Bray was a much smaller studio in London, and they needed a lot more space because this was shot in widescreen, which was called Hammerscope. Why not? So that was their widescreen version. So they needed larger sets to accommodate those shots. So they filmed it at Pinewood. And then they did a lot of actual filming in the Pyrenees Mountains. So there's a lot of shots where you'll see hikers and stuff and guys climbing rocks. Those are all shot with stunt doubles. None of the principal actors ever showed up. They all shot the stuff in the studio. But so it lends itself a nice realistic feel to it. You know, not everything was done in a studio. The other star of this film is American actor Forrest Tucker. And he has been in a million things. Most people of a certain age will recognize him from F Troop. Was it Sergeant O'Rourke? Is that his name? I never watched a lot of F Troop. It's been a long time. But yeah, he was in that. And then later in his career, he was in a Filmation Saturday morning show called the Ghostbusters. This is before the Bill Murray movie, and it was about these two guys. Larry Storch is his ex-partner from F Troop, and him and Bob Burns as a gorilla. Yeah, a gorilla with a little beanie on his head. And they'd go around, you know, solving ghost crimes and stuff. Real low budget Saturday morning stuff, but kind of fun to see. But Forrest Tucker is also in one of my all-time favorite movies, which I'll be discussing down the road, sci-fi movies, The Crawling Eye, also known as the Trollenberg Terror. I believe that Hammer or one of their spin-off companies filmed that one. I'll look into that when I get to that one. But that one's an excellent movie. So this one's more psychological. I mean, the director went out of his way not to show you the monster. You'd get this creepy hand, and look at the size of these guns next to him, these rifles. It's kind of cool how they had these props made up to accentuate the size. And when we finally do get to see them, they're all in shadow, but they're still kind of neat looking. The only time you'll ever get to see the Abominable Snowman is in a close-up, and it's to show the intelligence of the creature, that it's not just some mindless monster, that it's a thinking animal, and that these creatures are basically waiting for man to destroy himself so that they can eventually, come out of the dark, or come out of the cold, if you will. And there's the close-up of him looking down on Peter Cushing. Creepy looking, isn't it? Sort of has a Sam Jaffe look here with the nose, the eyes, and that hair. That's all I ever see whenever I look at this movie. So this one's hard to find. In fact, after I announced it, I know I bought the film. I bought it on Blu-ray last year, and I'm looking all over the place. I can't find the darn thing. And then Julie got the idea that maybe it got packed up with Christmas videos because of the snow and all that kind of stuff. And sure enough, she found it last night, so I was able to watch it this morning just to get caught up in everything. So let's see, before we move on to the second part of our show tonight, where we're going to talk about comics, the state of comics, the crowdfunding versus corporate comics, and your questions and answers. And my answers rather. Let's just give a shout out to who's in the room here tonight. All right. Good. Well, we had James Murphy. He's going to watch it tomorrow, I guess. Monster Fan is with us. Hail Graham in the chat. Peter Cushing. Hail Forrest Tucker. I love Forrest Tucker. Good evening, Pop Culture Avenger. And what beers are you guys drinking tonight? I'm drinking a German Spaten. A delicious lager. Okay. Hyper Kaiju agrees that Peter Cushing makes any movie really great. Yep. He's one of those guys. Otis Rose is here. Monster Fan. He's saying hello to Pop Culture Avenger. Okay. VIP. We're in the chat. Good evening. Rob Younce. Good evening. Scott Clark. Good evening. Hyper Kaiju. Chanue crew assemble. Yes, we'll be getting to talking about the Chanue and all that fun stuff in just a moment. Matt Cisco, who has to have the best avatar of them all. I'd be lying if I didn't agree. Ashen Jackal. Hello, hello. James Allen, beer. Yep. Let's see. Victor Thomas. Good morning. I'm used to the morning shows. John Morgan Batneal is here. Steve Lowe, 64. Dead Drop. Ha ha ha! My wife told me that tonight at dinner. She says, "You should definitely say you're sorry for that." And I said, "Never apologize, Mister. It's a sign of weakness. Just go with it." But now I got outed by you, so sorry about that, dead drop. Hey, Dennis. Good evening, sir. Andrew Schweitzer had a feeling it was Peter Cushing. Yes. How dare you, Scott Clark? Would have been more realistic if it filmed in Buffalo in January. Well, he's not wrong. Hey, good evening, Kevin. Yes, it is a good film. It's a little slow. The pacing is slow because, I think we talked about one time, particularly when we're 12-year-old kids, when you want to see a monster movie, you want the monster. And I think the writer of this film agreed that the director should have gone a little bit further in showing the creatures. But other than that, it's well acted. It's well shot. Definitely worth a look. It's not a great movie. It's not the best movie. It's not The Crawling Eye. But then what is? Gaiju loves German beer. I'm having an IPA from a local brewery. Excellent. Support local. Thank you, Dead Drop, for your forgiveness. I think I caught it. Oh, wait. Sometimes when I scroll down, people post stuff after I've been by it, and I kind of got to go back up. So Marcus Buckley says, Yeti and Sasquatch stuff has freaked me out since I was a kid. Just about the only thing that scares me. One of the reasons I can't wait for the Chanue. Excellent. And I appreciate your support. All right. Oh, John Morgan said he watched the Trollenberg Terror last night. Excellent. Hope you liked it. Okay, cool. Excellent. So we'll move on to our second part. We're going to talk about some of those other things, the Chanue in particular, crowdfunding, state of comics. And if you guys got questions, throw them up and I'll answer them. So let's go over here. No, let's do this first. Okay. Oh, I got to get the... One second. Lost Zeppelin, you don't see the monster in the crawling eye till the end, if I remember right. That's true. But it's worth the wait. Okay. So the project that I'm working on right now on Indiegogo is the Chanue. And probably a lot of folks are wondering, well, why crowdfunding? Why did you decide to do this as a crowdfund? Why not take it to a publisher? I've got 37-year track record in this business. And the truth is I did take the Chanue to two publishers and they turned it down. And I can understand why, because they want series. They want stuff that they can do over and over. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do self-contained stories with my publishing company, Compass Comics. I want to do one-shot deals, but instead of doing multiple issues of stuff, I want to do spin-offs and thereby connect my universe. And that's my long-term plan here. The Chanue is the beginning of it in this little universe that I'm creating. I mentioned my previous project, Joe Frankenstein, is mentioned in the dialogue, so it connects it to this story. There'll be characters that show up in this, which will be the next project I launch, which will be called Task Force 77. And then in that storyline, there'll be other characters introduced, which will spin off, and things mentioned in that story that will precipitate the next story after that. So it'll be stepping stones of this connected universe without having to commit to multiple issues to get a complete story. I want each one to be complete and self-contained. And I think that's a unique way of approaching it, and I hope everybody will like it. The other reality is basically the current state of the comics industry. If you hear the cheerleaders, they say, "Oh yeah, comics are doing better than ever." Well, when Batman is selling 40,000, 50,000 copies, that's not a good sign for corporate comics. When they boost those numbers and tell you that comics are selling well, what they're doing is they're not really talking about the periodicals, the monthlies, the floppies as they're called. We're talking about graphic novel sales, which are healthy. Graphic novel sales are healthy, and YA books are very well received as well. But they lump that all into those numbers to boost them up. But the actual floppies aren't doing well. And so there's less and less outlet for you if you want to go that corporate route. And the reality too is that corporate comics will spit you out. They don't pay a lot. If you're lucky enough to have a long career in them, you can get some royalties on them, but you're not going to make the kind of royalties you can make if you own the product, if you own the IP yourself. I talk about the 4 stages of any comic career, and I got this. I sort of lifted this from actor David Huddleston, who was talking to a friend of his about the 4 stages of an acting career, but it applies to comics as well. And that is, and I'll use myself as the example. Here's your 4 stages. Who's Graham Nolan? Get me Graham Nolan. Get me a Graham Nolan. Who's Graham Nolan? Nobody is immune to that. If Marvel will kick out Jack Kirby to the curb, they'll kick anybody out. The business is set up to chew you up and spit you out. And so when you're first starting out, nobody knows who you are. So it's who's Graham Nolan. After you've established yourself and you become in demand, then it's get me Graham Nolan. You become in demand, and it's the high point of your career. And it's get me a Graham Nolan is when you've priced yourself out. Either your rate has gone up, or you're too busy to do something. And then the final part is the last part of the career is who's Graham Nolan again, because you've got the gatekeepers, the editors that have the newer, younger editors come in, and they're trying to establish their own look and their own link. And they don't owe you any favors like the old guys did. And so you get lost in the old Rolodex there. But it doesn't have to be that way. If you eschew corporate comics, if you decide that your ideas are strong and you have the savvy and the drive to create your own stuff, and it's a wonderful opportunity now because it's a new paradigm. Crowdfunding is a way to reconnect really with your fans directly. When you go up to a table at a convention, you get to talk to the creator about your favorite books and all that kind of stuff. It's fun, and it creates a great moment, and it's a good time. And now you can do that with crowdfunding. You can support the creator and their project that they're going to do directly for you. Like the Chanue, is something I'm passionate about, and all my backers are passionate about it. And my conversation lines are completely open. We can connect through Indiegogo, and my email is up there. It's that one-on-one interaction, which I think is really, really amazing. And I find it invigorating creatively for me, because comics have corporate comics, and I'm talking about Marvel and DC, have just gotten so impersonal and so corporate. When I first started at DC, it was like working for a small company. If there was a problem, it was easy to get it solved. Editors had the ability to make decisions. They had autonomy for everything that was in their groups. They could decide what they were going to do. Ideas didn't come down from on high as it does now. Now it's like everybody's got to, the ideas come from a central point, and then so it's this homogenized, impersonal product. And now with crowdfunding, you can get those things that they're unwilling to publish. You can seek out those quirky and cool stories, and the artists and writers are passionate about them, and that's going to translate into the work. When you're working on a comic, let's say it's Batman, and you don't get any feedback from your editor. You've busted your ass on something and you get no feedback on it. After a while, you tend to get felt like you're taken for granted, and you're bored with it. And it shows towards the end of a run. You'd get 12, well, nobody makes a 12-issue run anymore, except me and Chuck. We did it. And it shows in the work, so these kind of things like the Chanue and my upcoming other Compass Comics projects are passionate, and because they are self-contained one-shot stories, my excitement level, also through dealing with the fans directly, the excitement level is kept high. So there's no trail off in the product, towards the end. Like, how many times have you looked at a comic, and your first issue looked killer, and then by issue 8 or something, you're looking at it and you're like, this is looking a little rushed, and you're not going to get that with this type of stuff. So that's the reason I decided to take my ideas and my publishing into my own hands and do this through crowdfunding. It was a risk. You just never know. But this first one out of the gate, the Chanue, so far we're almost at $80,000 raised for it, which is fantastic. I never thought it would do that well. And as a result, everybody's getting all the goodies. We've hit all the stretch goals. So for that $25 for the 64-page comic, you're also getting stickers and a digital version, extra. You got extra story pages. Got a cool cover enhancement, trading card, all of that stuff. Everybody's going to get because we hit all those stretch goals. And so I'm super happy about that, and I'm just so proud to have all these backers on board. And I hope you'll stick around for the next one too, because this is going to be a lot of fun. Let's see if there's any questions in here. Seems like it's been buzzing, so let's see here. Otis Rose Labatt Blue cheers. Okay. Will there be a Chanue meets Joe Frankenstein? Nope, there will not be. Because, like I said, I'm not doing sequels. I can't tell you how the Chanue ends, but you might be able to figure it out. Hyper Kaiju wants to know if we'll ever find out what happens to the characters from Joe Frankenstein. Well, we certainly left enough breadcrumbs. You know, I definitely want to do other Joe Frankenstein stories, and we had the rights returned to us from IDW, so that's definitely a possibility. Right now, I'm concentrating on my Compass Comics universe, and I've got let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 properties that I'll be launching that will interconnect with each other before I can start considering doing something with Joe Frankenstein. But it's definitely on the list there. Joe Frankenstein in the same universe? Sweet. Will Monster Island be in the same universe as well? Yeah, definitely. I will have to definitely give that a shout out mention in one of the books. This is what I like to hear. Rob Yance, Graham Nolan, can't wait for your world. We'll support them. Awesome, dude. Thank you so much. Let me just going to throw the link to the Indiegogo campaign in here. There we go, so you guys can see it. So let's start. Let's go over the campaign and just show you what's available in here. If you haven't backed the project yet and you're considering it, we'll start with the trailer, which is really, really cool. It really shows up. It feels like a movie. Let's see, where are we? Here we go.
Good evening. Tonight's big story centers on the state of emergency declared this morning in Buffalo.
Between 4,000 and 5,000 cars said to be abandoned on city streets.
Buffalo is still very much a city under siege.
This is wind whips the snow into 30-foot drifts.
Below tonight, 10 below zero. Get off the streets and highways as soon as possible.
That little video is put together by Nick Grosh, and he did a killer job on it. Definitely going to use him for my next one too. A little bit about the Chanue. As all of you, I'm sure, have figured out by now, I love monsters. I always have. And I wanted to do, I did Monster Island and Return to Monster Island. And those were kid monsters, fun monsters. I originally wrote those 2 books for my daughters when they were younger. And I wanted an all ages type of thing. With the Chanue, I wanted to do a straight up horror, straight up monster, you know, basically rated R. And I was driving along the 190, which is a highway that runs around the outskirts of Buffalo, right along Lake Erie. And it was in the winter, and there was a storm coming off the lake. Not a blizzard or anything, just a typical winter storm over the frozen lake. And it was really foreboding. It was dark and scary. And I thought, oh, that would really be a cool setting for a monster tale. So I pulled into a coffee shop and started jotting down some ideas. So I went online because I was looking for some type of to try and connect it to something that maybe that existed mythologically or historically or something like that. So I went online and I started checking into Native American myths, and I came up with one called the Chanue. It was a man. The Chanue was a man who had scarred his soul through cannibalism, usually, and was turned into this ice creature that could no longer live among men, but he would hunt and eat the hearts of men in a vain attempt to reclaim the warmth that he would no longer have. So it was sort of a terrifying sounding creature, and I was like, "Oh, bingo! This will be perfect." So I took that myth, modified it for my own story needs and stuff like that, and then basically came up with the story of a group of people being trapped in a blizzard and being hunted by this creature. So it taps into a lot of those fears, like claustrophobia, being eaten, and it really came together quickly. So that's how I came up with the basic premise, the idea of the Chanue. So let's go back to here. Here we go. So here's our campaign. So I thought this was genius, if I may say so myself. I was looking for some type of a perk that I could give the backers and fans to hold them over till the book was done. And I came up with the idea of a snow globe with the two covers. It's a two-sided snow globe, and it's signed by me. And those have shipped for everybody that's ordered them. And if anybody wants to order them, there's still a few left. There was only 100 made. I think there's 20. I think there might be 20 left. So they're still available, and if you order them, they'll ship before the books. So here's our first level, which is a poster and the book. So you get this character sticker, the signed book, and the poster. Of course, you get all the other perks too, all the perks that we've already hit. You know, this is what you'd have paid for that on day one, but now you're going to get all the other perks, which we'll go over later too. There was a request for more stickers because people really like this cool sticker, and I love this sticker. I think this is so cool. Look at this, 29 beers. Having one of them tonight. So maybe you aren't into comics or horror, but you think Graham is a swell guy and want to support the campaign. Then buy him a beer because God knows he needs one. Here's the basic entry-level perk. Signed comic and sticker. Here's the variant cover. Oh, yeah, here's the large one, larger version. Variant cover, colored by Greg Wright. Greg colored my Joe Frankenstein book. So here we can see a few pages. Let me see if I can blow that up. I don't want to make it smaller. There we go. So here's a few sample pages. I think I have the first 5 pages of the story up here. This book is in black and white. Glorious black and white, I'll say, just like great old movies, with red as an accent color. So whenever blood appears in the story, you'll see it here in the comic as red. These guys are ice fishing out on Lake Erie. Guy goes to take a leak. Look at the shadow on his back here. Wah! His buddy goes out. Whoosh. Carried away for a quick little meal. If you've ever been to Buffalo, you'll see how authentic this is. This is what the outer harbor would look like with the Skyway going by. So we have a plow driver clearing things off. Thinks he hit something. He goes out, finds fur. Whoosh. Bad day at Black Rock for that dude. All right. Oh, here's the bookmark. My wife Julie wanted this. She couldn't wait for that perk level, or it's not a perk level. What is it? I forget what it's called now. But for that level to get hit, stretch goal. For that stretch goal to hit, because she loves to read and loves bookmarks. So here's a collectible trading card, which you get also for free. The bookmark, the sticker, trading card. I had fun with this trading card because I used to collect baseball cards as a kid, and you'd go to the back of the card and you see the stats, and so I have like baseball stats on the back of this thing with the year, the blizzard that he was in, and the death count, maiming count, death count, and then for like 1994, there's an asterisk because that was the strike year. So baseball fans will get a kick out of that. Here's a poster I designed. It's based on the old beef poster, beef campaign. It was beef. It's what's for dinner. Robert Mitchum was the original spokesperson for. So I found that logo and I recreated it using the exact same fonts and stuff, and changed it to meat. It's what's for dinner. Here's our hero, Officer Paul Jackson. On the site, you can read a little bit about the background of the story. All right, so here's the stretch goals, which are all unlocked. So all the supporters' names are going to be in the book. You get the collectible trading card. You get the bookmark. You get extra 8-page story content of when the Chanue came onto land in the blizzard of '77. A digital copy for everybody. It's actually not a foil stamp. It's actually cooler than that. But both of those have been unlocked as well. So you get that enhanced covers. So there we go. That, my friends, is the Chanue campaign. And I hope you'll take a look at it if you haven't supported it. And if you would like to, I wish you would. What else can I say? All right, let's see what we got here. Jaime Diaz, keep them coming, Graham. 8 p.m. works a lot better for me. 8 a.m. Okay. Who'd win between the Chanue versus Bane? That'd be tough. Bane's pretty smart. He'd probably find a way. There's no reference in this story, Rob, but there will be in a future one. That one's a little bit tougher to work in, but it will be. I'll figure a way. Rob misses comic and monster shows. Do you think they will return? Yeah, I do. I think so. I think there's nothing like in-person relationships. So I think they will. Lyco says he can't wait to get his hands on Chanue. Well, thank you. Good. I've never backed a crowdfunding campaign that kept me as informed as you have with Chanue. Well, thank you, Hyper Kaiju. Yeah, that's something I didn't mention. That I've backed many campaigns myself, and I don't know how many are out there that I've supported that I either haven't gotten any information on or I've just forgotten about because there's been no updates. And I wanted to make sure that mine was different than that. Also, because I spoke to you about the interpersonal relationship type stuff of between creator and backer and fan and stuff like that. And I think that's so important. So my backers get an update every single Monday with a progress report, basically where we are in the project, what's happening, how many pages have been completed that week. When I've talked to my printer and fulfillment people, anything new coming out there. In fact, this Monday, there's going to be some big news about the schedule and the cover enhancement. So I'll be talking about that on Monday. But yeah, so all my backers get an update, so you know exactly what's going on, because I appreciate your trust, and I think you ought to know, your money is tied up. It's sitting there in this project, and you deserve to know that it was well spent. Eric McIntyre, hello, peeps. Hello. Nothing at my local comic shop looks remotely as appealing as the crowdfunded comics you see these days. Well, yeah, that's sort of what I was talking about too. The corporate comics becoming very homogenized. Let's see. This has been a great experience restoring my faith in doing it. Excellent. Glad to hear that, Rob. Creators need you guys. You can't do this stuff without you. Yeah, Rob's reiterating what I just mentioned. Any news on the Chanue beer? For those of you that don't know, Nick G is referring to. I made a deal's the wrong word. A cross promotion agreement with a local brewery, and they are going to produce a imperial stout called Chenoo Brew Imperial Stout, and I'm going to design the can logo or wrapper for it, and it's going to be sold locally here in the Buffalo area, and we're going to have a like a tap party when it's revealed, and I'm hoping I'll have the comics ready at that point so I can bring the comics to the brewery and sign the comics and sign the beer cans, and then a proceed from that evening will go to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So it's great local promotion, good for the brewery, good for me, good for Make-A-Wish. So everybody's a winner there. That's what it's all about. How is it doing a book like this versus doing a DC book? It's night and day. This is a passion project. This is stuff that I do for me because I love it. I'm not having to listen to any, or I'm not going to have any editorial restraints from anybody. If I got an idea that I think is cool, I can use it. It doesn't have to be run up a flagpole. It's basically pure freedom to create. And I love it. I'm hoping that this works out, and that this will be the next stage of my career, is to continue to do creator-owned books and deliver them directly to the fans. Because I don't know if I've ever been happier in my 37-year career, and I think it shows in the work. When you see some of these pages, when you get the book, you're going to flip. I'm really, really happy with the way they turned out, and believe me, I'm a very critical person. Let's see here. Sounds like a trip to Buffalo for some beers. We got a lot of good breweries here. Otis is local. He hopes to be at the tap and buy the beer. Excellent. It's the brewery is 42 North Brewing Company. 42 North is located in East Aurora, New York. Oh, there you go, Scott. 42 North. Look them up. They're a fantastic brewery. They have a outstanding IPA called Borderland, which is really good. They also have a wonderful porter too, which as we get into these colder northern weather, you know, those heavier porters sound really great. The fact you are passionate about the books you produce is going to keep me as a customer. Excellent, Eric. Thank you. That is awesome. If you aren't having fun, then why do you do it, right? Indeed. Scott's in Orchard Park. Yeah. You can just Uber on over. Let's see if I missed anybody's. Oh, Blue Samurai. Any chance of a Sunshine State compilation book like the Calvin and Hobbes books? I am considering it. It's about timing with these kind of things. You know, when you're first starting out, you have to build on successes, and I suspect that a Sunshine State book, as much as I love it, it's one of my favorite things to do is to do my daily strip. However, I just think that it's more of a niche market. I don't know that it would be able to support itself the way I would need it to. I mean, I'm sure it would support itself enough to get it published, but for it to be the amount of time it would take me away from these other projects, which I'm hoping will be profitable projects, I'm still up in the air on that. It must feel good to get paid doing a passion project. Absolutely. Let's see. Dr. Mass must have Google mapped it about 4 hours from him. That's a road trip for a beer. Yeah, I'm considering possibly offering up empty cans, you know, unopened cans with the logo and the Chanue on it, because I can't ship it with beer in it. The brewery, I've talked to the brewery, and there's postal regulations about that and licensing issues. The brewery license can only ship within the state of New York, so I couldn't ship the cans outside the state. And I don't want to put that kind of a restriction on it, on the campaign. So, you know, I think I might be able to offer just the empty cans, maybe sign something like that. But you know, I'll poll the backers in the updates and see if that's something anybody would be interested in. Would I do a book that consolidates all your MonsterVerse? Yes. I think what I would like to do is once I have the 4 or 5 IPs that I talked about done and published and all that, then I might collect them and do a you know, an Indiegogo for an omnibus, like a hardcover collection omnibus of all the monster stories. Then you get to empty the cans before shipping. I don't think it works that way. Nick G says put me down for an empty can. Is Nick G Nick Grosh, who did the trailer I talked about? Let me see if I've got everybody covered here. Oh, statistical zeros here. Oh, he's on his way home from work, I'm assuming. I just got here. Are you going to be on Ethan's auction shows this weekend? I I think he starts the Friday night on the auction show, but in the afternoon he'll be helping to launch Charlie's London book about Charlie Chaplin's early days in London, and I'm gonna be on his show then to help launch that. That looks like a fun project. But I don't know about at night. Ethan goes very long and late at night, and I get too old and tired to stay up that late. Wrench me for him, and I'll post links. Not sure what that means, but I'll stick the Indiegogo link back in here. So it's in the comments, you can see it. Oh, make me a moderator. Okay. I don't even know how to do that. Hey, you guys should just be happy I haven't kicked myself off the stream. The first week of the 31 Days of Monsters, I was knocking myself off every day. And one of you guys suggested a drinking game. This will succeed. Great concept and passion to back it. Well, thank you. I am definitely passionate about it because I love comics. You know, I've loved them ever since I was 12 years old, and it's all I ever wanted to do. It was to be in the comic book business and to write and draw and create stuff. You know, when I first got in, you know, the place to be was DC and Marvel Comics. You know, there weren't any other options other than small press stuff. In the 80s, it was booming with, you know, you had First Comics, you had Eclipse Comics, Kamiko. There's a whole bunch of independents that were out then, but it wasn't a ton of money. But it was a great way to break in. And there was all different kinds of genres being published. Nowadays, you know, the comics that are getting published are, again, I don't want to use a broad brush here, but I'm talking strictly about corporate comics, Marvel and DC. It's this homogenized, same old crap with way too much political agendas being shoved down your throats at the expense of entertainment. You know, that's your job. Your job is to sell comics and entertain your readers, not to hit them over the head with you know, polemics and social messages. Even Stan and Jack, you know, you listen to their comments, and you know, a lot of people on the left love to say that that Stan and Jack were all about that. Well, they weren't. You know, there's many interviews with them where they say that their job is to sell comics and to provide entertainment. If they can slip a little message in now and then, that's all for the good. Stan actually said that, and that's fine if you slip that stuff in, but never at the expense of entertainment. But now all you get is that stuff, and you know, they've changed the characters so much. I don't recognize them anymore, and I have no interest in doing any of that stuff, doing any of their properties. You know, that ship has sailed. I've played in that sandbox for 37 years, and I've gotten a taste of what it's like to own your own properties. And believe me, it's the best way to go because you're not beholden to them and as gatekeepers anymore. You know, the sky's the limit, and you know, you just have to build your readership base. And so with stuff like these little shows that I do, and social media and the crowdfunding, I'm hoping to build that. And with your help, we'll get it done, and we're gonna do some kick-ass comics. Stuff you'll be proud to read and share. That's for sure. Besides art, how are you good with writing stories? Well, Sam, I've always considered myself a writer that draws and not an artist that writes. My first sale was a student story that I wrote and illustrated. To me, story is everything. So I'm a damn good writer. So I think you'll enjoy my stories. Did you get royalties from the new hardcover DC release of you and Chuck's work? That just came out, so we'll get royalties on it, yes. But that won't come probably till maybe third quarter of next year. How about brewery Chanue t-shirts? That's an idea. That's not a bad idea. Problem with shirts is that then you have to find out everybody's size. Well, this is interesting. Nerd and a noob. I'd like to say that I love the comic characters, DC and Marvel, etc. The Chanue is the first one I've backed and bought that I've been interested in. Well, thank you. That's good to hear. I gave up on DC and Marvel. My monthly budget for comics goes to CG campaigns and back issues. Excellent. That's cool. Pop Culture Venture. Mentioning some of the other publishers back in those days. He's also in for a few cans. Maybe I'll have to do that. I can only drink so much. That means you can put a wrench on someone by clicking their name, and they can post links to keep the chat in line for you. Oh, okay. Cool. You can put a wrench on somebody. All right. I wonder what that means. Maybe if, there's these little buttons here. No, that puts you in timeout. Okay, let's see what happens if I do that. No. No. Oh, we'll figure that out another time. We have a very civil group that comes to my shows, so which is good. Oh, Rob wants to know if the Chanue is an East Coast Native American legend. Does the Lakota tribes have the Wendigo? Yes, it is. If I'm not mistaken, it was in New England, the upper regions there. For my story, it's going to be part of Seneca Nation because that's the main Indian tribe that's out this way. Not a fan of mead. Will you be drawing on Fraga's show this month? He would probably love to have you. Drawing on his show? Well, I don't know what Dan's doing. But I'm always happy to go on his show. Ah, Nick G. It is Nick Grosh. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for that wonderful promo video. We'll be talking soon about the next one, which is the Task Force 77, which I want you to do for me. This guy's great. So if you're doing a crowdfunding, contact him. Every size in CG is fat. That's harsh. Well, I'm not. The Nation, why the Chanue legend? You must not have been tuning in earlier. I came across it on an internet search, and it fit the needs of my story. Let's see some new comments here. Frank is doing Inktober, where he draws a sketch every day on his stream for the entire month. Oh, okay, cool. Shadowhawks. He's got the snow globe already on his mantle. Cool. Do you shake it up and switch sides? All right. Any questions? Anything that I haven't covered here you guys are interested in or knowing about? If any of you are here are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so and like it so we can get those numbers up. That would be appreciated. Scott Pickering, can't wait to read the Chanue. Yeah, I'm finishing up the last few pages of the main story. The first story is 48 pages. I'm working on page 40. I just finished page 42. Or is it 43? Anyway, I'm getting close to finishing that up. Then the 8-page stretch goal part, I'll be hitting that next. So we're really coming along. A lot of the other stuff's already done. The art for the trading card poster, all that kind of stuff is all ready to go. Right now, the only thing holding things up is the initial content, and then I'll have to lay out the pages and get everybody's name in there, and that's going to take a little bit because there's 1,373 names I got to throw in there. Maybe a Florida skunk ape would be added to the universe. Marcus, the next story is going to take place. It's going to start in Key West, Task Force 77, and it's going to tap into some Florida legend as well. So I think you'll be digging on that. I had a couple early questions, but no. Bane versus Phantom. How do you think that fight would go? Both physical, mental, intellectual. Who cares? That's corporate comics. We're creating new stuff here. I think the Phantom would kick his ass. There you go. Yeah. All right. How do I add a wrench to you? Maybe under settings? I do that. Huh? Well, Jasper Plan 9, message me today or tomorrow and just tell me how to do that. And be happy to add you in there. Oh, wait. Write of their name in chat. Click it. Okay. Look what those 3 little dots are. And it doesn't tell me that. It just says put user in timeout or block user. Boy. No. Yeah. You think you would ever do a story like John Carpenter's The Thing? I'm not quite sure how to answer that. I mean, John Carpenter's The Thing is based on a book called Who Goes There? And he was inspired by the Howard Hawks film, The Thing from Another World, which is my favorite. I like Carpenter's Thing, but I found that all his characters are completely unlikable. Whereas in The Thing from Another World, I loved all the characters. I cared about them. Statistical zero. I talked about that a little earlier. You probably weren't heading home from your car yet. Right now I'm concentrating on launching the Compass Comics Monster Universe and the 5 books that are going to encompass that right now. Was Azrael Batman meant to be a parody of 90s violence? No, it was a reflection of it. It was a reflection of what was happening in comics at that time. The whole Nightfall storyline came about because, Denny was getting a lot of pressure from fans because the Punisher and Wolverine were really popular, and they wanted Batman to kill his bad guys. And so Denny wanted to show them why that's a bad idea. And so the idea was to replace Batman with Azrael, who was much more violent and would kill, and show them why it's important that Batman does not do that. What? No wrench for you. Well, I think you're going to see some similarities in the fact that I'm not adverse to showing some of the gore, which is what was a hallmark of Carpenter's Thing. The grossness of the monster. Let's see if I got everybody. It was a super carrot, super plant, although Scotty the reporter characterizes it as a carrot in The Thing from Another World. The John Carpenter version is a lot closer to the book, to the Campbell book, Who Goes There. The characters' names like Copper and McCready, all of those characters are in the book. Only they're likable in the book. they're not these. They're not seen through the prism of a kind of 60s hippie, which is pretty much what John Carpenter was. It's the era he grew up in. That cynical aspect is very prevalent in his films, and it translates into his characters. You don't really care about them, and some of them. I can't believe even half of those characters would be either intelligent enough or to be on that base in the first place or would have a place there. So that's some of the problems I have with it. But don't get me wrong, I still enjoy that movie. But I don't enjoy it like I like The Thing from Another World. That one is just one of my top 3 favorite movies of any genre. Mike Plug helped do creature designs for Carpenter's Thing, right? Rob Bottin did the sculpting and the effects. Yeah, Bruce's parents were killed so Batman wouldn't kill. Well, sort of yes and no. Batman doesn't kill because it's wrong to kill, and Batman is not a real person, but he is a character that we're supposed to look up to. It's again, it's one of the problems I have with comics today, and in particular superhero comics, is that they're trying to make them us instead of trying to make us want to be them. And that's the important heroic aspect of these characters, is that yes, I might be more like the Punisher if my family was killed. That might be what I would want to do. But the aspect that makes Batman heroic is that he doesn't do that. He doesn't kill. He lets justice take care of them. And whether that's realistic or not, it's irrelevant. It's the goal that we should aspire to, is that better than them, better than the bad guys. Ha ha ha. What do I think about King Kong versus Godzilla? Well, it's funny you say that, because tomorrow morning, I'll be discussing Destroy All Monsters, the mashup of giant kaiju monsters. This was like the ultimate giant monster movie. I loved King Kong versus Godzilla when I was a kid. And in fact, to this day, Godzilla seemed to change, like his costume, his look in every single movie. But my favorite version, my very favorite version, is the 1962 King Kong vs. Godzilla. He looked more like an alligator, more like a lizard. His face and nose wasn't that little pug thing, and he didn't have those little cutesy eyes. He looked like, more like alligator or dinosaur. So I do have a real soft spot in my heart for that movie. Now, King Kong, on the other hand, was absolutely horrible. It's got to be one of the worst costumes ever. It's a shame that they couldn't pair up the greatness of that Godzilla look with the Kong look, and making that look better. And then there's some odd plot points in there, like Godzilla's kicking King Kong's ass and blasting him with his radioactive fire, and then a storm comes, and the guy goes, "Oh, look, here comes the lightning. That'll make Kong stronger." Well, where does that come from, for one thing? And who ever heard of a gorilla getting hit by lightning and making him stronger instead of a pile of burnt fur? Is that? But it's fun. Yes, but now, here we go. Can't wait for the remake. Now that is going to be something else. Then King Kong is going to look awesome. Godzilla is going to look awesome. The effects are going to be freaking amazing. I'm going to go to that movie, and I'm going to feel like a 6-year-old kid. Or 12-year-old kid, rather. Kong was originally meant to be Frankenstein's monster. Yeah, that's true. And then they did a it was a Frankenstein Conquers the World. They did a giant Frankenstein movie. And then the spin-off to that became War of the Gargantuas. Hopefully the story is good. Well, that's the key with these giant monster movies, is that, again, we go for the monsters, but we have to love the characters. The best Godzilla movies are the ones where the backstory of the characters is interesting, which is why I really like Destroy All Monsters, Monster Zero, and Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. Because the stories of the humans that are going on in the background are really interesting to me. A lot of the other ones are crap, and I'm just looking for Godzilla to show up. The ones that have the human stuff that's interesting, I like those. So who thought Kong would be more marketable and had the rights? Yeah, they'd also have to do some kinds of nonsense to make him Frankenstein big enough. Yeah, War of the Gargantuas was I saw it at the movie theater, actually. I saw that as a double feature with Godzilla's Revenge. And my brother and I were freaking out in that opening scene where he sinks the boat. The Gargantua sinks the boat. And then when he's in the hospital and he's thinking back on and telling his story to the authorities, we see the sailors trying to swim away in this storm, and the Gargantua, like just walking through the water, like chasing after him. Oh man, that was really cool. Those scenes really hold up too in that movie. All right. Well, I think we got just about everything covered here, my friends. Hope you enjoyed this segment, our supersized version. We got to talk a little bit about, comics and the business of comics and the Chanue and the Abominable Snowman. And tomorrow we will discuss Destroy All Monsters. So I got to get to bed. I got to get up early and talk Destroy All Monsters. Maybe I'll have another beer before I crash out. So thanks again, fellas and ladies, if there's any ladies in the room. I appreciate you stopping by, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.